In every age, mankind has longed for a secret that could open the door to wealth and prosperity. We have tried many paths, from exhausting labor to chasing quick opportunities, yet the results have so often been nothing more than fatigue and disappointment. In truth, there exists an ancient principle employed by the sages and the builders of fortunes, a principle that has never changed. This secret does not lie in the banks, nor in the markets, but within the mind itself, in the way you think, the way you speak, and the way you act each day. This journey will lead you through 16 parts, from the discovery of the first law of prosperity to the shaping of habits, the mastery of focus, and the transformation of the mind into a workshop of creative wealth. If you are truly ready, then allow each part to unveil to you a new vision, where wealth ceases to be a dream and becomes an inevitable reality. Opening. The ancient secret of multiplying wealth. There is a truth that most people have never realized. Money has never begun in the wallet or in the bank account. It has always begun in the mind. Look around you. There are those who labor tirelessly all their lives and yet cannot escape the vicious cycle of lack, while others seem to turn everything they touch into value, into assets, into prosperity. If this secret could be explained merely by intelligence, luck, or background, it would have been unraveled long ago. But there is an ancient principle, simple and clear, that money in essence is a form of energy, and that energy always follows the frequency of human consciousness. Every coin that flows into or out of your life is never by accident. It comes and goes in direct response to the inner state you sustain. The one who clings to fear, anxiety, and doubt will see money slip through their fingers like sand. The one who holds confidence, gratitude, and vision can rebuild an empire from nothing, even in adversity. This is why some win millions in the lottery only to return to emptiness a few years later, while others lose everything and yet recreate many times more. The difference does not lie in the paper bills, but in the operating system of thought, in the depths of every civilization, from east to west, from the philosophers of Greece to the spiritual masters of India. The same truth has been repeated. Within man flows a creative current, and it is this current that determines wealth. Whoever connects with this flow holds the key that opens the vault of infinite treasure. Whoever ignores it may clutch gold and jewels for a moment, only to lose them again. The difference lies in the ability to recognize that money is not merely a medium of exchange, but a living force. It is like electricity. No one sees it, yet all feel its effects. When you live in fear and scarcity, you are like one using electricity to light a dim, dying bulb. When you live in gratitude and an awareness of abundance, you become a conduit that illuminates an entire house. Money always follows the channel of strongest attraction, and that attraction is formed by the attitude of the inner life. A person may complain that they work hard yet never improve their situation, but if you look closely, you will see they are acting under hidden beliefs that money is hard to keep, that they are not good enough, that wealth belongs only to others. Those thoughts are commands imprinted deep in the subconscious, and they create a magnetic field that repels wealth. By contrast, the one who dares to believe he is worthy, that every dollar passing through his hands will be used to create more value, sends out a different signal from the subconscious, and the universe responds with opportunities, ideas, and connections, each opening doors to wealth. This ancient secret is not as mysterious as many imagine. It is simply the law of cause and effect at work in the realm of finance. Sow the seed of a thought, and you will reap the corresponding harvest in life. Whoever sows the belief in lack will reap scarcity. Whoever sows the consciousness of abundance will reap plenty. People often emphasize hard work and long hours, but they fail to see that working more in fear only multiplies exhaustion, while working less with an abundant spirit paves the way for lasting prosperity. Ask yourself this: if tomorrow you were to lose everything, how long would it take you to rebuild? Your answer is the true measure of your inner financial strength. If you understand that wealth begins in the mind, you will realize that nothing is ever lost forever, for the root remains. The one who holds faith, maintain vision, and acts from gratitude will soon find life reorganizing itself to reflect that consciousness. From here, a new door opens. Instead of asking how to get more money, ask what energy you are holding in your mind. Instead of chasing after financial tricks from the outside, listen to the language your inner voice uses when speaking about money. Instead of judging money as scarce, regard it as a boundless river, ever ready to flow toward the one who opens the right channel. The ancient secret of wealth is not reserved for a chosen few, but to awaken every human being. It does not promise riches overnight, but it invites you to realign your mind so that you become a steady magnetic field from which money multiplies naturally and sustainably. Whoever grasps this will no longer look at money with fear, but with respect, gratitude, and calm assurance, knowing that supply never runs dry, but only awaits your alignment to receive. And it is right there that the true journey of multiplying wealth begins. The first law, money begins in the mind. There is one truth most people overlook. Money does not reside in your pocket or in your bank account. It resides first in your mind. You may lose all your possessions, your home, your job, even your reputation, but if you hold the right state of mind, you can recreate it all, and more than before. Conversely, if your inner thinking remains bound by fear and limitation, then even if you were handed a fortune, it would vanish quickly. This is the first law of multiplying money, a law that has never changed and has been proven across the millennia of human history. Consider this for a moment. If tomorrow everything you own were to disappear, how long would it take you to rebuild your life? The answer to that question is not a prediction, but a precise reflection of your inner financial power. Some would feel despair, convinced there is no way out, yet others, within a few years, even a few months, would recreate success. Where does the difference lie? Not in luck, not in education, nor in family support. It lies in the mental ability to see opportunity and create value, even when everything seems to have collapsed. Money is, in truth, merely the outward expression of energy, and that energy always follows the guidance of consciousness. The consumer views money only as a reward, the result of effort spent, and spends accordingly. The multiplier views money as a tool, a seed to be planted that will yield further harvest. When money leaves your hands without purpose, it disappears. When money is placed within a clear vision, it begins to grow on its own. This is why certain entrepreneurs fail and yet rise to build even greater empires, for they understand this law. And so I ask you, right now, as you listen, throughout these years, have you truly regarded money as energy that must be directed, or merely as a means to pay bills and purchase goods? Have you ever asked yourself whether you live as a creator of money, or merely as one who chases after it? This is not only a question for reflection, but the starting point for you to recognize your true position in this law. Thank you for being here, giving your full attention to these words, for it is only when the mind opens and listens that the first law can begin to take root. In reality, most people believe financial security comes from working harder, earning more, but look around. How many toil their whole lives only to still worry over bills, still tremble under the weight of debt? If work alone and long hours were the answer, Why has it never solved the root problem? The answer is this. You cannot hold on to anything beyond the image you carry in your mind. Lottery winners often lose everything, not because they are incapable, but because they never cultivated a consciousness of wealth. A large sum arrives in their hands, but the mind remains poor, and poverty in thought inevitably drags reality back to its level. Meanwhile, the truly wealthy may lose all material possessions, yet their minds have been trained in abundance. They see opportunity where others see only ruin. They rebuild from the ashes, for the root of wealth was never outside of them. Such is the first law of multiplying money. The mind is the seed, money is the harvest. Sow in your mind images of value, of prosperity, of using money to create, rather than fearing its loss. Then you will see that wealth is no distant dream, but the natural outcome, just as trees do not strain to blossom but bring forth fruit when the conditions are right. So too will money flow when the mind is filled with faith and vision. Begin now. Instead of asking what you must do to earn more, take a moment to envision the life you would create if money were no longer a burden. Instead of sighing over lack, ask yourself what thought you can sow today in your mind to reflect abundance. This is the beginning, and no one else can do it for you. When you step onto this path, you will see the whole outer world rearrange itself to answer. And that is the moment the first law comes alive. Invisible bank, hidden deep within every human being, lies a treasure that most have never touched. This treasure has no vault, no metalkise, no guards at its door. It is an invisible bank working day and night within your mind, continually issuing ideas, opening opportunities, stirring perseverance, and igniting faith. Unlike the banks of the world that merely store paper bills, this one manages a far more powerful currency, thoughts and beliefs. Whatever you deposit, it returns in kind. Deposit fear, and you will receive scarcity. Deposit abundance, and you will receive opportunity and supply. The invisible bank does not play favorites. It does not judge. It only reflects with perfect accuracy what you consign to it each day. Most people are unaware that in their unconscious mind they are running their bank in poverty mode. They deposit commands such as, I never have enough. I cannot hold on to money. Money is always difficult. Asterisk, day after day they make these negative deposits. And then they are astonished when the bank returns nothing but stacked bills, missed opportunities, and constant anxiety. In reality, nothing mysterious is at work. Here it is. Simply the law of reflection, operating flawlessly. Meanwhile, those who know how to reprogram their invisible bank receive the opposite results. They deposit gratitude, the certainty that supply is always available, and the decision to use money as a tool for creation. The result is that the bank pays back in streams of ideas, in unexpected yet priceless connections, in opportunities that seem to appear out of thin air. This invisible bank functions like fertile soil. What you plant, it will bring forth. No one can plant corn and expect to harvest wheat. Just as you cannot sow thoughts of lack and expect to reap wealth when you fixate on fear, you are cultivating a garden of weeds. When you replace it with images of abundance, the bank begins paying interest in rich harvests. This is why the truly wealthy are not only skilled at keeping money, but also at keeping their inner state. They know that losing external wealth does not mean losing everything, for their inner bank remains overflowing, ready to refinance any new beginning. A person may start with very little, almost nothing at all. Yet if their invisible bank is filled with abundant thoughts, they will see what others miss. They will see opportunity where others see dead ends. They will perceive hidden value in a small idea. They will persist when others give up. These are the lines of credit the bank returns to them, opening the way to prosperity. On the other hand, some hold great possessions, but their invisible bank is filled with negative beliefs. Before long, those possessions dissolve like water slipping away. This explains why, in the same world, with the same opportunities, one multiplies wealth while another loses it all. The invisible bank is not only about money, it influences every sphere: career, health, relationships. Yet in finance, its impact is the most visible. It acts like an unseen filter, allowing you to notice only what aligns with your inner programming. The one filled with scarcity beliefs will pass countless opportunities without recognition. The one with abundant consciousness can turn even a brief conversation into a major contract. The invisible bank never rests, and it only multiplies what you have deposited. Its true power lies in the fact that it never stops working. Even while you sleep, it processes, arranges, and connects the fragments of your inner and outer worlds. If you deposit doubt, it will construct scenarios that reinforce doubt. If you deposit trust, it will orchestrate events that prove your trust, correct? In both cases, the invisible bank is absolutely faithful. Thus, the responsibility is entirely yours. You alone decide what currency you will deposit. The difference between an average life and an extraordinary one does not lie in the initial capital, but in the discipline with which you deposit the right thoughts into your invisible bank. Every thought you allow to repeat is a check you deposit. Every emotion you cultivate is accumulated interest, and in time, you will receive the exact replica of all you have deposited. This is a principle that cannot be escaped, cannot be altered, for it is the natural law of the mind. If you desire lasting wealth, not fleeting riches, the first step is not to chase opportunities outside, but to turn inward and audit your invisible bank. Ask yourself, how many fears, how many negative words, how many images of poverty have I unknowingly deposited there? Then begin replacing them with new spiritual currency, with gratitude, with images of abundance, with the decision that money is my tool for creation, not a foe to be feared. When you change your deposits, you need not command the bank to act. It will automatically change its returns. The invisible bank proves that wealth is never a random miracle. It is a system of transactions faithfully recorded in the subconscious. You receive precisely what you deposit, no more, no less. And when you grasp this truth, you will understand that your financial future is not in anyone else's hands. It is being built right now in your own mind. This is the secret known to the ancients, and it is the key that unlocks your path to sustainable multiplication of wealth. Two mindsets, the consumer and the multiplier. There exists a very clear yet invisible difference in the way people relate to money. On one side are those who see money as a reward to be enjoyed. On the other are those who see it as a workforce to be directed. This division not only determines one's immediate financial state, but sketches out the long-term destiny of an entire life. The consumer always views money with the eyes of indulgence. When money arrives, their first thought is, I deserve to spend. I have worked hard. Now it is time to enjoy. Asterisk. The comfort they feel lasts only a moment before it dissolves, leaving emptiness and the new worry of the next expense. Money flows in and out, never anchored into lasting value. They walk endlessly in this loop. The more they earn, the more they crave to spend, and in the end, their hands remain empty. The multiplier, however, sees money as an army of workers. Every dollar that enters their hand carries with it the question, what task will I be given? What mission will I serve in your care? Asterisk. The multiplier does not rush to spend the assigned duties. A portion goes to investment, a portion to growth, a portion to reserves. For them, money is not a reward, but a seed to be planted in fertile ground. And as the law goes, seed sown in the right place, in the right way, bear fruit many times over. What is striking is that consumers believe they are enjoying their rewards, when in truth they are stripping money of its chance to work for them. Multiplies. In contrast, restrain immediate desires to give money time and space to grow. As a result, while consumers are caught in perpetual lack, multipliers gradually step into the circle of prosperity, where money ceases to be just numbers and becomes a continuous flow. So which mindset is yours? Have you ever paused to listen to the inner dialogue that rises when money comes in? Do you hear yourself say, I must buy this now? I deserve to indulge, asterisk, or do you hear, I will let this money work for me? I will plant it to reap more in the future? Your answer will reveal exactly where you stand on the financial journey. Money has a peculiar nature. It always seeks the place with a clear purpose. If you do not give it direction, it will leave you and find its way to another where it is welcomed with a plan, with a mission. This explains why two people with the same income can live such different lives. One accumulates and advances, the other remains in shortage. The difference is not the amount, but the treatment of money. The multiplier also understands that each dollar must be respected as if it were a living being. When you respect it, it multiplies. When you treat it only as a tool for fleeting pleasure, it depart. This respect is not stinginess nor selfishness. It is wisdom. The wisdom of assigning every dollar a task of creating new value. Each dollar rightly employed draws in others, expanding into a flow. Think back on the past month. How many times did you let money leave without a clear purpose? How many times did you spend on impulse instead of strategy? And how many times did you deliberately assign your money a job? These questions are not meant for self-blame, but to help you see that change begins with a simple decision, to treat money as a force that must be guided. Thank you for being here, patiently listening and allowing these words to touch your mind, to let me know you are still present in this story. Leave a comment, even something as simple as, I am ready to change, or just the number asterisk one, asterisk, that will be proof that you have taken a small but crucial step, deciding to move away from the consumer mindset and toward the multiplier mindset. For in the end, the difference between these two kinds of people is not income level, not hours worked, but foundational thinking. One treats money as the end point, the other treats money as the starting point. One lives in recurring scarcity, the other steadily advances into unending wealth, and the choice belongs to you. Right now, in this very moment, which one will you become? Clear vision, the foundation for holding and multiplying money. No structure can ever rise without a blueprint. A house may be filled with the finest materials, but without a design, the bricks and steel remain scattered, useless. Money works in the same way. Many exhaust themselves to earn it, but lacking vision, they are like gatherers of stone and timber with no intention of building a home. Money flows in and out, leaving behind fragments that never form, lasting value. Meanwhile, the one who crafts a clear vision, even if starting with little, places every small coin in its rightful place, making it part of a greater design. Money possesses a peculiar intelligence. It always seeks purpose. When it enters your hand, it silently asks, what was I born to do here? Asterisk. If you have no answer, it will leave you and find its way to another, to someone who already has a plan Amishchan prepared. This explains why some with high incomes never accumulate, while others who start small gradually grow wealthy. The difference lies not in the amount, but in the vision that directs it. A clear vision is not merely numbers in an account or a list of things to buy. It is a vivid picture of the future where money becomes a tool to build, to create, to serve values beyond personal need. The one with vision knows where each dollar must go, what it must do, what it must produce. They assign money the task of building the dream home, nurturing the career, generating new streams of income, or contributing to the betterment of others. Every coin given a place in that picture becomes a seed capable of multiplying without vision. However, money is nothing more than a wanderer with no destination. It dissipates into fleeting pleasures, momentary desires, and vanishes without trace. People often confuse having money with being truly wealthy. True wealth is not the material you hold at a moment's glance, but the capacity to keep and multiply what arrives. That capacity is born only of a clear vision, a mental blueprint of the future. A right vision awakens hidden power within. When the mind holds a clear image, the subconscious begins ceaselessly to seek its fulfillment. It stirs ideas, leads you toward opportunities, and connects you with the right people. What you call luck is often nothing but vision, activating the inner system that lets you see what you once overlooked. This is not illusion, but the natural function of the brain. It constantly filters millions of signals, retaining only what aligns with what you deem important. Fix your vision on abundance, and the brain will filter and guide you toward it. Thus, money becomes a current of energy that obeys direction. It will stay with you if you give it reason. It will multiply if you assign it the task of growth, and it will depart if you leave it without purpose. It is like managing a team. A leader with vision directs workers into productive harmony, creating lasting value. A leader without direction scatters his team, wasting effort and achieving nothing. Money is a loyal workforce, but it requires a plan to function. What makes vision the foundation of holding and multiplying wealth is its power to shift you from consumer thinking to creator thinking. The consumer asks, what can I buy right now? Asterisk. The creator asks, what can I build that will last? Asterisk. The consumer chases instant gratification. The creator sows seeds and waits for harvest. The question you pose to money will determine the path money chooses with you. A clear vision also grants serenity. When you know your money serves a greater purpose, you no longer chase trivial anxieties. You spend with awareness. You save with meaning. You invest with certainty. Every financial act is guided by vision, not by fleeting emotion. And this serenity itself attracts further opportunity, for your inner energy has been set upon a steady foundation. Look at those who have built lasting wealth across generations. Their common bond is not in the capital they began with, but in their long-term vision. They knew exactly what they wanted to build. They pictured enterprises not only for themselves, but for their descendants. They saw each coin not as a means of present indulgence, but as the seed of a stream that would flow even after they had gone. That is the power of vision, and it is why true wealth has never been the result of chance. Clear vision is the foundation, the blueprint, the pillar. Without it, every financial effort remains fragmented and fragile. With it, every small act, every dollar placed becomes a brick laid in order, and gradually you will see the architecture of your prosperity rise solid, enduring. Then money ceases to be something you struggle to keep. It becomes something naturally retained and multiplied. for it has found its purpose in your hands. Words, the seeds of financial reality in every sphere of life. Words serve as seeds sown into the soil of the subconscious. We often assume that words are nothing more than passing sounds vanishing into the air, yet the truth is that every word carries energy, and that energy never disappears. It only transforms into tangible results in life. The subconscious does not distinguish between true or false. It only obeys commands, and words are those commands. The one who constantly declares, I never have enough money, I always struggle, money is so hard to earn, asterisk is sowing seeds of scarcity into the fertile ground of the subconscious. And the subconscious, absolutely faithful, will sprout exactly the kind of plant contained in those seeds. By contrast, those who use words as instruments of creation sow new commands, seeds of abundance, when they affirm, I am expanding my capacity to receive, I am worthy of prosperity, I am a wise steward of money. Asterisk, these words do not remain at the surface. They sink into the subconscious, becoming underground currents that guide actions, emotions, and decisions each day. Gradually, the outer reality mirrors those commands. Words, therefore, are not mere communication, they are creation. They do not simply describe circumstances, they establish them. The truly wealthy never speak, as the poor do. When facing difficulties, the poor lament, I cannot, I do not have, I am not enough. Asterisk. The wealthy instead ask, how can I, where is the hidden opportunity here? What step must I take next? Asterisk. The difference in language does more than reflect a difference in thinking. It creates the difference in outcome. For every word is a vibration, and that vibration attracts the circumstance that matches it. This is the power of voice within. Not merely a voice you hear, but the very atmosphere you live in. Your inner voice is the environment you return to again and again. The climate that nourishes your thoughts and actions. If that space is filled with negative self-talk, you will always feel trapped. But if you cultivate an inner dialogue of abundance, where every sentence plants seeds of faith and opportunity, you will walk in a different world, a world created by your words. Many fail, not for lack of talent or opportunity, but simply because they do not control their words. They diminish themselves in every conversation, inject fear into every phrase, and unwittingly program their subconscious with a script of failure. Meanwhile, others may not yet have much money in hand, but their words consistently reflect confidence, certainty, and the conviction that prosperity is coming. They do not speak of lack, but of possibility. They do not speak of limits, but of potential. That difference in language produces a difference in energy, opening the way for greater steps forward. Words are like seeds in nature. Once planted, they germinate silently until the day they break forth into growth. You may not see results immediately, but the words you utter each day are forming the structure of your future. This is why every word about money, even in jest or passing remark, carries creative power. The more you repeat it, the deeper the seed embeds itself, and the more certain the harvest becomes. One small but priceless habit is to listen to yourself more closely. Notice the words you use when speaking of money. Do they reflect abundance or lack? When you speak of success, are you planting seeds of faith or of doubt? This awareness is the first step toward change. From there, you can begin replacing old words with new ones, sowing fresh seeds into the soil of your mind. This change is not pretense or self-deception. It is deliberate reprogramming. When you choose to speak affirmations of abundance, you are sending new commands to the subconscious, and the subconscious will faithfully carry them out until reality reflects them. Just as planting a new seed requires care and patience before growth appears, so too will your financial garden transform if you persist. Words, therefore, are the foundation of financial reality. They are not secondary tools, but the initial seeds. Whoever controls words controls the soil of the mind. Whoever sows words of abundance will reap a life of abundance. This is one of the simplest yet most powerful secrets, rarely recognized. Each day you hold hundreds of seeds in your hand. The only question is, which ones will you sow? Remember, words are never meaningless. Every word you speak shapes a portion of destiny. Every phrase you repeat directs the flow of your finances. If you desire wealth, begin by speaking as the wealthy speak. If you desire prosperity, let your words reflect abundance. Words are the seeds, the subconscious is the soil, and your life itself is the harvest. Mindset and enthusiasm. Money does not respond only to intelligence and effort. It also responds to the mental attitude you carry into every action. Every step you take on the financial path emits an invisible frequency, and money always flows toward the place that matches that frequency. Those who live in doubt, fear, and restlessness broadcast a faint signal that makes money hesitant and distant. Those who walk in faith, gratitude, and excitement radiate a strong current that naturally draws money to them. This is a truth often ignored by those who fixate only on strategies, tools, and plans. Yet it is attitude of spirit that forms the foundation upon which every method finds its power. Many wonder why two people selling the same product can have such different outcomes, one succeeding, the other failing. The difference lies not merely in skill, but in the energy they bring. The anxious, doubtful person who tries to force a sale emits a field of resistance that pushes customers away. The one filled with passion, confidence, and belief in the value of what they offer draws others in almost effortlessly. This difference cannot be explained by logic, but it is felt by all. It is the frequency of mental attitude. Money is more sensitive than most imagine. It behaves like a living presence, seeking where it can find refuge. It shuns low energy, impatience, and despair, but it is attracted to enthusiasm, openness, and trust. When you act from boredom or frustration, working only to escape debt or to survive, you are sending out a weak signal that drives money away. When you act from passion, from the conviction that every step has meaning, money flows to you as water finds its way to the sea. Enthusiasm is not noise or showmanship. It is the inner flame that keeps you moving when others stop, that lets you see opportunity where others see only obstacles. The person with enthusiasm does not need to persuade with force. Their very presence radiates confidence. This is as true in finance as in any field. The investor deeply passionate about a project, the entrepreneur consumed with their mission. These are the ones who emit the energy that attracts money, people, and opportunities. The one who works merely to survive seldom endures, while the one who works within a fire finds resources seeking them out. The power of attitude lies in its ability to transform circumstances. A person carrying low energy darkens a room by their very presence. Another enters with enthusiasm, with faith and gratitude, and the atmosphere itself brightens. When a positive mental state becomes habitual, money begins to seek you, not because you are luckier, but because you have become a natural magnet. Enthusiasm is the catalyst in every financial action. You may have the perfect plan, But without enthusiasm, it remains theory. You may encounter a great opportunity, but without the inner flame, you will let it slip by. On the other hand, with true passion, you can turn small chances into great achievements. That is the transformative power of enthusiasm. It not only strengthens your own spirit, but also attracts cooperation, trust, and investment from others. The truth is that no one wishes to entrust their money to those who lack confidence and zeal. Money always seeks the place where it feels safe, respected, and put to inspired use. When you approach money with fear, you send the message that you are unprepared to hold it. When you approach it with enthusiasm, you send the message that you know how to multiply it. And the world responds precisely to the signal you send. Enthusiasm is not innate. It is a choice, a habit cultivated daily. It begins with gratitude for what you already have, with belief that opportunity is always present, with the decision to focus on possibilities rather than limits. Once you choose to live in that state, your energy changes, your actions change, and so too do your results. Mental attitude and enthusiasm are the bridge between the inner world and outer results. They not only give you resilience in adversity, but they open wide the doors for money and prosperity to enter. When you choose to live with inspired energy, you are sending a silent invitation, and money, like an intelligent current, will answer. Remember this: strategies may be similar, opportunities may be evenly shared, but it is attitude that separates the multiplier from the consumer, the successful from the unsuccessful. You may start with little, but if you carry within you the fire of enthusiasm, you already hold the most precious form of capital, and from that capital, every other form of wealth will gradually appear in your life. Time, capital more precious than money. Of all the forms of capital a human being may possess, time is the most precious and the most fragile. Money lost can be earned again. Property destroyed can be rebuilt. Opportunities missed can be replaced with others. But a single second that passes is gone forever, beyond the reach of any price. And yet, paradoxically, most people treat this capital with carelessness, spending it as though it were endless, wasting it on pursuits that bear no fruit. Then they lament that they have no time to build wealth, no time to learn, no time to invest in themselves. The multiplier understands that time is the root capital from which all other forms of wealth are born. For them, each passing minute is an investment to be placed with strategy. They do not ask, how much time do I have? Asterisk. They ask, what can I create with the time I have? Asterisk. This shift in perspective transforms time from a meaningless stream into an asset that produces returns. The ordinary person calculates by hours worked and wages earned. The multiplier calculates by the impact each hour has upon long-term goals. Time is not merely a flow. It is capital that multiplies when joined with clear purpose. An hour spent planting knowledge into the mind may yield profits 100-fold in days to come. An afternoon devoted to honing a skill becomes an instrument that will serve a lifetime, but hours squandered on trivialities are capital squandered forever. Impossible to recover. The consumer spends time as they spend money for immediate comfort. The multiplier invests time as seed with the harvest in mind. The true power of time emerges when it is used with focus and discipline. One concentrated hour has greater value than a week scattered in busyness. This explains why some accomplish in months what others cannot in years. Not because they have more time, but because they steward their time with intention. Each minute they live has a purpose, a direction, an investment. Time is like fertile soil. It favors no one. He who sows will reap a harvest. He who neglects will reap only weeds. The outcome never depends upon how much time you have, but upon how you use it. Some live 70 years and squander most of it, arriving at the end with empty hands. Others live only 20 years, yet with focus and vision, leave a legacy that endures. Remember, time and money are bound by cause and effect. The one who governs time will soon govern money. The habits of time management cultivate discipline, clarity, and long-term vision qualities indispensable to financial mastery. The one who disrespects time will inevitably mishandle money. They allow money to slip away without purpose, just as they allow days to pass without direction, and in the end, both abandon them. One of the greatest secrets of the wealthy is that they treat time as the highest currency. They weigh every meeting, every task, every hour. They do not ask, how much must I do? Asterisk, but rather, which task brings the greatest return? Asterisk, they do not seek busyness, they seek results. Their reverence for time makes them masters of capital, not only in finance, but in life. Look deeper, and you will see that time is the most honest test of all values. You may say you treasure health, yet how much time do you devote to exercise? You may say you desire wealth, yet how much time do you dedicate to learning and to knowledge? You may say you love your family, yet how much time do you truly spend present with them? Time does not lie. It reveals what you value most. If you wish to transform your financial life, begin by transforming your view of time. Regard each day as capital entrusted to you for wise investment. Ask yourself, what have I created for the future with today's capital? Asterisk. Each day without investment is an opportunity lost forever. Each day rightly invested is a seed of prosperity planted. When you begin to value time above money, you will notice your financial decisions change. You will waste less on needless spending, knowing that money lost is also the time lost that earned it. You will invest in what endures, knowing time is the only capital that cannot be replenished. And at last, you will live with urgency but not with panic, knowing each moment is sacred capital, multiplying the course of your life. Time, therefore, is not merely the backdrop of existence. It is the root capital, the foundation. He who masters time masters money. He who neglects time loses both. Let every moment be an investment, every hour a step forward, and your entire life a testimony to the wise stewardship of the most precious capital ever entrusted to you. Environment. The financial atmosphere. Human beings do not live in a vacuum. We constantly breathe the invisible atmosphere of beliefs, words, attitudes, and thoughts that surround us. Every conversation, every headline, every piece of advice you absorb each day is like the air you inhale. If that atmosphere is filled with the smog of worry, doubt, and complaint, your mind will gradually take on the same color. But if you live in an atmosphere of people who believe, who speak of possibilities, who see opportunities, then your subconscious begins to harmonize with abundance. This is the truth about environment. It is the financial atmosphere that continually shapes your destiny. The unsuccessful often fail to grasp the power of environment. They believe themselves independent, able to hold fast to their convictions regardless of what surrounds them. Yet the subconscious is not as strong as reason. It soaks up impressions like a sponge. When you repeatedly hear that wealth is reserved for the few, that the economy is hopeless, that money is never enough, your subconscious absorbs those words and transforms them into your reality. In contrast, the successful guard their environment, for they know that whatever enters the mind becomes the seed of tomorrow. Every book you read, every song you listen to, every friend you converse with contributes to the shaping of your inner atmosphere, if most of these influences drag you down, feeding helplessness and limitation, then no matter how hard you work, you will find yourself back at the starting line. But if you deliberately choose a positive environment, exposing yourself to ideas that uplift, to people who speak of solutions rather than problems, you will find yourself thinking and acting differently, subtly yet powerfully. Environment influences more than mood. It determines the vibration you emit. A scarcity-filled atmosphere causes you to radiate fear, which attracts more scarcity. An abundant atmosphere causes you to radiate faith, which attracts opportunities and money. Just as plants cannot grow in barren soil, the subconscious cannot produce wealth while immersed in a poor atmosphere. But place it in the right environment, and it will grow beyond measure. Few realize that environment is stronger than willpower. You may exert fierce determination for days or weeks, but if your surroundings constantly pull you down, eventually you will fall back to your old frequency. The wise do not rely on willpower alone. They design their environment so that it becomes effortless. They filter the words they hear, the images they see, the relationships they maintain. In this way, they breathe daily the atmosphere of faith and prosperity. The financial atmosphere is like a river. Immerse yourself in polluted waters, and no matter how pure you wish to remain, you will be stained. But step into clear waters, and naturally you become clean. Human beings are shaped by their atmosphere far more than they realize. And the miracle is this: you have the power to choose your atmosphere. You can change it by changing what you read, what you listen to, the people you allow near your life. Look at your own existence. At the dinner table, are the conversations about lack or about opportunity? At work, do your colleagues dwell on problems or on solutions? In your free time, do you absorb content that spreads fear or content that inspires confidence? The answers to these questions reveal plainly the environment you inhabit, and if you desire to change your financial results, the first step is to change that atmosphere. The successful often insist they have no choice but to withdraw from toxic conversations, trivial content, and pessimistic companions, not from arrogance, but from the recognition that environment is a matter of survival. They treat it as oxygen, or soil, as water for the soul and the subconscious. They protect it, nurture it, and thereby remain constantly tuned to the frequency of abundance. Environment is the mirror of the subconscious, and the subconscious is the mirror of your finances. When you change the atmosphere around you, you change the very rhythm of your financial life. This transformation does not occur overnight, but it is inevitable. Day by day, hour by hour, new thoughts will arise, new decisions will be made, and gradually a new financial reality will take shape. In the end, environment is not just the place where you live, but the space you allow to live within your mind. It is present in every conversation, every page, every line you read, every face you sit beside. And when you deliberately choose an atmosphere of abundance, you have chosen to sow for yourself a harvest of prosperity. Habits, the compound interest of action. Every financial result you see today is the direct product of the habits you have sustained over the years. Not the grand decisions, not sudden strokes of fortune or misfortune, but the choices repeated daily that quietly built your reality. A wealthy person is not wealthy because they stumbled into the lottery or happened upon rare opportunity. They are wealthy because they planted the right habits and allowed time to multiply the results. Habits are the compound interest of action, the hidden yet enduring profit stream that turns small steps into great achievements. Observe daily life. The one who chooses to read 15 minutes a day about finance, after a year, holds not only more knowledge, but an entirely new system of thought. The one who chooses to squander a small sum each day on the unnecessary, after a year, has lost millions in value and formed a habit embedded deep in the subconscious. Each action, however small, is writing your financial story. The issue is not the size of the act, but the cumulative power of its repetition. Habits are like flowing water. At first, only a trickle, seemingly insignificant, but over time, the flow carves rock, widens into rivers, and reshapes the landscape. So it is with each choice to save rather than waste, to invest rather than delay, to learn rather than squander, you are carving a new channel in your subconscious. At first, you see little change, but in time, your entire financial life is molded by these streams. Those who fail to grasp the power of habit search endlessly for instant solutions, hoping for one great leap into prosperity. But the wise know that it is the small, repeated, persistent steps that create lasting transformation. Just as a seed needs time to become a tree, just as a tree requires seasons to bear fruit, habits require patience and loyalty before compound interest reveals its power. The wonder of habits is that once they are formed, they no longer demand great effort. They run on their own, like the beat of a heart or the rhythm of breath. Wealth then ceases to be the result of strain and becomes the natural fruit of the path. The wealthy are not forcing themselves day after day. They're simply following the orbit of habits already set in motion. And that orbit carries them inevitably toward abundance. Words and habits are deeply intertwined. Words create habits, and habits reinforce words. When you declare, I am disciplined, I always save before I spend, I learn something each day, asterisk your actions gradually align with those declarations. And when action becomes habit, the words grow stronger still. This is the power of voice within, not just a voice you hear, but the inner atmosphere you return to, the inner climate that directs every deed. The power of habit lies in the fact that it never stands still. A good habit will carry you farther than you imagine. A bad habit will drag you lower than you expect. Habit does not compromise. It only compounds. If you plant the habit of saving, you gain not only money, but also confidence, discipline, and security. If you plant procrastination, you lose not only opportunity, but also faith in yourself. Remember, discipline is only the bridge that turns actions into habits. Once a habit is formed, discipline is no longer needed. As force it is embedded, at that point, financial change unfolds. As a natural outcome, the one who understands this law does not strain for perfection in every moment. They simply select a few keystone habits and remain faithful to them. A small habit can change an entire future. Setting aside 10% of income for yourself first, keeping a spending journal to clarify cash flow, investing a fixed amount each month in knowledge. These acts seem simple, yet they unleash massive compound effects. After a few years, those who practice such habits have advanced far, while others remain stuck in repeating struggles. Habit is the unseen factor that separates the multiplier from the consumer. The consumer reacts to emotion, spending on impulse. The multiplier acts on vision, choosing by purpose. At first, the difference is slight, but over time, the gap becomes a chasm. Picture your life as a garden. Habits are the seeds you plant each day. You cannot expect a different harvest if you sow the same seed. To change the outcome, you must change the habit, and as you patiently nurture it, a new season of prosperity appears before your eyes. Habits, therefore, are no small matter. They are the law of compound interest applied to action. The one who grasps this truth stops chasing rare opportunities and instead focuses on sowing and cultivating habits. And once that is done, wealth arrives, not as a surprise, but as an inevitable result. Investing in wisdom and serving with excellence, there is one kind of investment that yields greater returns than any financial market: the investment in wisdom. Money may be lost, assets may fluctuate, opportunities may change, but once wisdom is sown into the mind, it remains forever and multiplies daily in its own way. A single new idea can alter the entire course of a career. A timely book can open a door you never knew existed. A conversation with a mentor can forever change the way you see yourself in the world. This is the kind of capital that the truly wealthy always accumulate first. Wisdom is not mere knowledge. It is the union of understanding, experience, and application. When you invest in wisdom, you not only expand your mind, but you also sharpen your ability to see solutions where others see only problems. The wise know that every challenge contains the seed of opportunity. From this awareness, they turn obstacles into bridges that lead to wealth. No market can yield infinite returns like the growth of the human mind. Yet investment in wisdom is only half the journey. The other half is the art of serving with excellence. The world does not pay you according to your wishes or needs. It pays you according to the value you deliver. And that value is measured by the quality of your service. When you approach work merely to fulfill a task, you receive limited wages. But when you step into work with the desire to give your very best, with the spirit of service that exceeds expectation, you create a different field of energy. That field naturally attracts opportunity, reputation, and money. Serving with excellence does not mean flawless perfection. It means pouring your heart into every detail. It shows when you care more for the person in front of you than for your own gain. When you seek to increase value rather than deliver the bare minimum, those who live with the spirit of excellent service often need little advertisement, for the experiences they create become the most powerful voice of all. At that point, money begins to flow, not as a hunted prize, but as the inevitable result of giving. When wisdom and excellent service unite, they form a multiplying spiral. Wisdom enables you to serve at a higher level, and serving at a higher level gives you more experience, more knowledge, more wisdom. The cycle never ends. It expands, lifting you to ever greater levels of prosperity. The great entrepreneurs, tireless creators, and masters of every field share this common thread. They never stop learning, and they never stop giving. This is why those who chase only short-term profit so often fail. They neglect wisdom, neglect value, and fixate only on accumulation. But accumulation without foundation inevitably dissolves. In contrast, those who invest in themselves and in the value they provide can rebuild even after loss, because their true treasure is stored in their mind and in the quality of their service. The world is shifting faster than ever technology. Markets and customer needs all changing constantly. In such an environment, the only asset that never depreciates is wisdom. Those who invest in knowledge, in Shil, in the capacity to think, will always stand firm. And those who combine that wisdom with the spirit of service will not only stand firm but soar. For society will always hunger for those who can deliver value beyond expectation. Remember, money does not seek the selfish. It seeks those who create value for many. Every dollar you hold is proof that you have served someone, solved a problem, or met a need. If you want more money, find ways to serve more, to serve deeper, to serve better. And to do that, wisdom is the indispensable investment, investing in wisdom and serving with excellence are not two separate roads, but one journey. One is the root, the other the fruit. The deeper the roots, the richer the harvest, and when you walk this path, wealth ceases to be a matter of chance. It becomes the inevitable outcome of a life built on a solid foundation, expanding vision from survival to creation. Those who live with a survival mindset always see the world through a narrow lens. They think about how to pay the bills, how to make ends meet, how not to fall behind. Survival thinking traps them in the loop of bare necessities, never allowing them to rise to their innate capacity for creation. In contrast, the truly wealthy do not ask how to survive. They ask how to create. They do not stop at food and clothing. They expand their vision to generate new value, new products, new opportunities. This difference in vision divides humanity into two groups, those who merely hold on and those who shape the future. A question must be asked right now. Are you living as one who merely survives or as one who creates? Be honest with yourself, for your answer determines the road ahead. If deep within you still feel bound by fear of lack, still stuck in the habit of thinking only of today, then it is time to expand your vision. And I thank you for sitting here, listening and reflecting, for that already proves you are ready to rise to a new level. The creative thinker does not see money as the end, but as the tool of possibility. They know that true wealth does not lie in accumulation, but in releasing creative potential with a wider vision. They do not fear loss because they understand that money is only the result. They dare to invest, to begin, to experiment, because they see the larger picture. The survivor, on the other hand, clings in fear of loss, shrinking more and more, and the more they shrink, the poorer they become. Creative thinking does not demand genius or vast resources. It demands only a change of questions. Instead of asking, how can I survive this month? Asterisk, ask, how can I create lasting value in the year ahead? Asterisk, instead of asking, how can I keep this job? Asterisk, ask, how can I build skills that carry me to a higher place? Asterisk, big questions open big doors, and the subconscious works unceasingly to find the answers. When you live with creative vision, every experience becomes material. Failure is no longer the end, it is data for improvement. Challenge is no longer a barrier, it is fuel for innovation. The survivor trembles at difficulty. The creator is excited. Knowing every difficulty hides the seed of opportunity. This difference explains why one remains stagnant while the other moves forward each day. What matters is that creative vision must be cultivated daily. You cannot leap overnight from survival to creation, but you can practice step by step. By widening your perspective, reading great ideas, conversing with those who aspire higher, you open the doors for imagination and creativity to awaken day by day. You will find yourself thinking differently, speaking differently, acting differently. And one day, you will realize you have stepped out of the loop of survival into the realm of creation. The Creator knows that the world always has space for new value. You do not need to overturn everything. By offering your unique contribution, you become a magnet for wealth. The survivor believes everything is already taken, that there is no place for them. The truth is that the marketplace is always open, but only to those brave enough to expand their vision. When you live as a creator, you breathe new life into every domain. Work, relationships, finances, even health. Everywhere you go, you leave the imprint of renewal, and that renewal becomes a natural invitation for prosperity to flow in. You no longer chase money. Money seeks you because you have become a source of continuous creation. Moving from survival to creation is not just a financial step, it is a leap in consciousness. It is the moment you stop asking, how can I have enough? Asterisk, and begin asking, how can I have more than enough to give, to build, to inspire? Asterisk. And when you truly live this way, prosperity ceases to be a dream. It becomes the very nature of the life you are creating each day. Discipline and patience. No foundation of wealth can stand without discipline and patience. These two qualities may appear dry, but in truth, they are the frame that holds every financial tower upright against the storms. People chase quick secrets, fleeting chances, promises of instant riches, but such things are castles of sand before the wind, nothing enduring discipline and patience. By contrast, are like bedrock, heavy and slow at first, but over time they reveal their unshakable strength. Discipline is the bridge from intention to achievement. Everyone dreams, everyone makes plans, yet only a few bring them to life. The gap is discipline. Discipline means you continue to do what must be done, even when the excitement has faded, even when no one is watching, even when results are invisible. It is the daily choice repeated until it builds an indestructible strength. Those without discipline quit at the first hardship and return to the start. Those with discipline advance step by step, each step a brick laid in the foundation of wealth. Patience is the other side of the coin. In a society addicted to speed, patience is easily lost. People want results now. Money instantly, everything quickly. But true wealth does not obey impatience. It follows the law of the harvest. So tend, wait, and only then reap. The impatient dig up the seed to see if it has sprouted, and in so doing they kill the crop. The patient trusts the process, nurture steadily, and at the appointed time, the harvest is full. Together, discipline and patience create lasting power. With discipline but no patience, one becomes rigid, strained, and exhausted. With patience but no discipline, one drifts into passivity, waiting without acting. But when they walk together, you gain the strength to act continually and the endurance to wait for results. This is the foundation upon which any financial goal can be realized. In finance, discipline shows itself in managing expenses, saving, investing according to plan, refusing to be swayed by emotion. It is present in the habit of paying yourself first. Instead of saving what is left, it is present in saying no to meaningless spending in order to focus on long-term investments. Patience shows itself in letting time work for you, in not rushing to withdraw, in not panicking at short-term fluctuations. The patient understands that compound interest requires time and that the greatest rewards always come to those who wait. The story of nearly every lasting fortune carries the same theme: perseverance with principles for years on end. None succeeded overnight. Their wealth was the result of thousands of days marked by discipline and patience. Along the way, they suffered losses. They wrestled with doubt, yet they continued, and that persistence set them apart. While others gave up, they pressed on, and so they finished. What is remarkable is that discipline and patience apply beyond finance. The disciplined with money are disciplined in health, in work, in relationships. The patient in building wealth are patient in building friendship, career, influence. These two qualities form the foundation of success in all things. Differing only in the field of application, wealth gained easily often vanishes quickly, for it has no roots. Wealth built upon discipline and patience endures, for it is grounded in character. Once these qualities are yours, No loss can strip you of wealth. Even if all is taken, you will rebuild, for discipline and patience have become part of who you are. Ultimately, discipline and patience are not burdens, but freedoms. With discipline, you are no longer captive to fleeting moods. With patience, you are no longer tormented by the demand for instant results. You live with assurance, with calm, knowing you are on the right path, and that results are only a matter of time. This is true freedom. Freedom from anxiety, freedom from fear of failure, freedom to walk in peace, focus, and consistent action. In a world filled with noise and temptation, focus has become a rare and precious asset. People spend hours scrolling through meaningless news, months chasing fleeting trends, years pouring energy into goals that yield little, and then they wonder why so much effort brings so little result. The answer is simple. They scatter their attention across too many directions instead of channeling all their energy into the one path that matters. Focus multiplies, distraction divides. When you scatter, even great energy is eroded. When you focus, even a small spark can become a flame. The successful are not always more intelligent, but they know how to choose and sustain focus on what truly matters. They understand that every lapse in focus is a loss of time and energy, capital never to be recovered. They know how to cut away the excess, to firmly decline what does not serve the goal, and to keep the mind sharp like a blade, precise, lean, effective. Focus transforms an ordinary hour into a golden hour, a small effort into a great result, because it gathers what would otherwise be dissipated. But focus is only the seed. It must be joined with consistent action to become a harvest. A clear vision and a sharp focus are meaningless unless embodied in steady action. Consistent action means repeating the step every day, without interruption, without letting circumstances or emotions throw you off course. That repetition builds an orbit, and that orbit inevitably carries you to your destination. The one who acts sporadically may achieve many small things, but never great success. The one who acts consistently, even in small steps, ultimately produces monumental results. When you focus and act consistently, you enter a special inner space where clarity meets strength. Here you feel the current flowing within a state with no distraction, no hesitation, only certainty. This is the power of voice within, not just a voice you hear, but a space you return to, asterisk. It is not merely an inner voice, it is a place you come back to, where you find guidance and strength to continue, not outside, but within lies the anchor that keeps you steadfast on the journey. People often believe that success requires doing many things at once. In truth, it is this very scattering that keeps them forever half finished. Focus does not mean doing everything, it means knowing the right thing to do. Consistency does not mean doing more, it means doing steadily. When you know how to focus and act in rhythm, everything becomes lighter, and results appear naturally. Focus and consistent action are also training for the mind. Each time you reject distraction to return to your goal, you strengthen the muscle of control. Each time you act, even in a small way, without quitting, you build faith in yourself. And when that faith grows strong, you become a new person, one whose habits of focus and consistent action have become second nature. So it is in finance, the wealthy are not those who do everything, but those who focus on the areas of highest value and pursue them steadfastly over years. They do not change direction at every market fluctuation, nor abandon course at the first difficulty. They remain consistent in strategy, adjusting where necessary, but never losing sight of the target. Enduring wealth does not come from a handful of lucky decisions, but from thousands of consistent steps taken with unwavering focus. Ultimately, focus and consistent action bring a serenity that distraction never can. They assure you that each day you are moving in the right direction, that you are not wasting energy on dead ends. And when you look back, you will see a long road paved by small but steady steps, proof that wealth is not a miracle, but the inevitable result of focus and consistent action. The mind, the creative workshop of prosperity. All prosperity begins in the mind, where the first sparks of ideas are kindled and gradually shaped into reality. The mind is the invisible workshop of creation, where every thought is a blueprint, every imagined image a model, and every emotion tied to it the energy that powers the creative process. Nothing in the material world appears without first passing through this workshop. Before a house is built, it exists in a drawing. Before a business is founded, it lives in the imagination of its creator. And before wealth appears in your account, it has already taken shape in your mind. People often search for opportunity outside themselves, believing luck, markets, or connections will open the door to prosperity. Yet the truth is that the outer world is only a vehicle. The source is always within. A disordered mind cannot produce clear plans. A fearful mind cannot recognize opportunity. A mind bound by old beliefs cannot receive new wealth, but a clear, focused, and richly imaginative mind becomes an endless factory of ideas leading to prosperity. The mind has a wondrous quality. It does not distinguish clearly between what you imagine and what you experience. When you envision a scene in vivid detail and emotion, the subconscious accepts it as truth. From that moment, your entire inner system begins working to make that image real. This is why the wealthy often spend time each day visualizing their goals not as distant dreams, but as present realities. They see, they feel, they believe, and thus they become. The mind is also the field of sowing. Every thought is a seed. Sow the seed of lack, and you reap poverty. Sow the seed of abundance, and you reap prosperity. You cannot sow negative thoughts and expect positive outcomes. You cannot continually declare, I am unworthy, I do not have enough, asterisk, and expect wealth to arrive. The spiritual law is as clear as natural law, like seed, like fruit. Thus, the critical task is not only to control action, but first to control the soil of the mind, to make the mind an effective workshop of creation. It must be nourished and protected, nourished with great ideas, knowledge, and inspiring visions, protected from narrow beliefs, fear-filled stories, and conversations that shrink you. A nourished and guarded mind is like fertile soil. Any seed planted will sprout and grow strong. It is no accident that every invention, enterprise, and achievement in history was born from those who used their minds as creative workshops. They saw what no one else had seen. They believed what no one else had believed, and they acted from that vision. Others called them dreamers, but it was those very dreams that became reality. The world has always been built by those who dared to trust in the creative power of the mind. You too possess this workshop, no different from anyone else. The question is, what are you producing within it? Some use it to manufacture fear, failure scenarios, and images of scarcity. Others use it to produce solutions, visions of prosperity, images of freedom. Whatever product is repeated again and again will eventually leave the mind and materialize in the outer world. This is an immutable law. True power comes when you unite a creative mind with consistent action. A powerful idea without action is only an illusion. An action without guiding vision is only aimless motion. But when the mind paints a clear picture and steady action manifests it, you touch the unfailing formula of prosperity. The mind is the workshop, but you are the craftsman. You decide what materials enter, what designs are pursued, what structures are built. If you allow the outside world to dump its debris into your mind, the workshop becomes a junkyard. But if you deliberately choose, the workshop becomes the studio of a rich life. In the end, wealth is not a gift for the few, but the inevitable result for those who know how to use the mind rightly. When you see the image clearly, believe in it, nurture it daily, and act from that place. The universe aligns to bring it into form, and then you will realize that everything great in your life once lived first in your mind, in the creative workshop, before it appeared in the world. Faith and action, the bridge to reality. Every idea, every vision, every seed sown in the mind will remain dormant without one element to awaken it. Faith is like the current that connects the wire to the source of power. It transforms the invisible into a force that propels you into motion. Without faith, you hesitate, you delay. You convince yourself the timing is not yet right. With faith, you step forward even when you cannot see the whole path. And it is that step that opens the way to the next. Faith is the glue that binds thought to reality. True faith is not vague hope. It is an inner certainty that what you seek already exists, awaiting only your action to receive it. It is the moment you stop asking if it is possible and start asking, what must I do to make it so? Such faith is not born from outside approval, nor from visible evidence. It arises from within, from touching the creative source inside yourself, where you realize the universe lacks nothing and you are part of that abundant flow. Yet faith alone, if left idle in the mind, is still incomplete. It must be proven and reinforced through action. Action is the bridge that carries the idea out of imagination into the realm of matter. Each action, however small, is a step upon that bridge. The more you walk, the stronger the bridge becomes, until at last you cross over to the shore where prosperity awaits. The one who lacks action lives in fantasy. The one who acts without faith lives in weary struggle. Only when faith and action combine is the undefeated creative power released. The difference between lasting wealth and fleeting fortune lies here. The wealthy dare to act before results appear. They do not wait for proof to believe. They believe and act to create the proof. They do not let fear of mistakes bind them, for they understand that each mistake is but a step in the process. They do not cling to safety, for they know that inaction buries treasure. They act as though the result is certain, and that certainty itself draws opportunity. People and resources to them, faith and action together, are the mechanism of every spiritual law. When you believe, you plant the seed in the subconscious. When you act, you water it, and time does the rest, lifting the seed above the soil into tree and fruit. No one else can do this for you, and no one can take the harvest from you if you have truly sown with faith and action. Picture a farmer with precious seed in hand. If he believes the seed will sprout but never sows it, he will never see a harvest. If he sows but does not believe in the crop, he will neglect the field, and the seed will wither. But if he both trusts in the seed's life and labors to sow, water, and tend it, he will surely see the harvest. Financial life operates in the same way. Faith is the seed, action the sowing, and the prosperous harvest the inevitable result. When faith and action become your daily rhythm, you step into what many call the flow. Asterisk. There, you no longer worry about success, for, the outcome is already in motion. You no longer compare yourself with others, for you see yourself as a creator. You no longer feel bound by old limits. For, you are standing on a bridge that steadily unites thought and reality. Each day you walk, the bridge extends further, carrying you deeper into abundance. The key is consistency. Faith cannot waver, and action cannot be sporadic. A faint belief will not hold you in trial. Scattered action will not form an orbit. But when faith is clear and action steady, nothing can stop the process. You will move through hardship, knowing hardship is only part of the bridge, not the final destination. In the end, faith and action are not merely tools for gaining wealth. They are a way of living. They build confidence, courage, and peace. They make you the kind of person who knows with certainty that you are not here merely to survive, but to create and to govern reality. When you combine unwavering faith with unceasing action, you hold the key to prosperity, and that treasure is not somewhere far away. It has been within you from the beginning. After walking through all 16 parts of this journey, you will see clearly that wealth has never been merely a matter of money. It is a matter of the mind, of the words you speak, of your attitude of spirit, of discipline and patience, of the focus and consistency of your actions. Prosperity is not distant. It is born of every thought, every word, every step you choose each day. From this moment forward, you need not wait for any miracle, for the miracle is already within you. Live with faith. Act with certainty. Let your mind become the creative workshop, and you will see that the world has no choice but to reflect the abundance you have chosen to become.